There's no way to put it other than it wasn't the ending anyone wanted. It wasn't the ending anyone expected. But here we are in the offseason. Step 1, the NBA draft. What will the Suns do? Will they trade a key piece to get a more promising asset? Will they stand pat, not only now, but in the days to come? Will DA stay? Will KD be a Sun? The first parts of that puzzle begin to come together tonight on PHNX Suns Draft Live.
Welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review.
We literally took a 15-minute break, and this guy's just now eating, and then he throws his sloppy-ass pizza on the corner after we set this beautiful setup and got rid of all the trash.
Bookman, we're 3.5 hours in, and this is for the audio.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome in to the 2022 NBA Draft Show, the final hour. We have been live since 4:45 Thursday evening, and this is the show to recap it all, put a bow on things, and in case you weren't paying attention to the draft, get you up to speed on everything that went down.
It's been fun.
It's been really fun.
Considering we don't have any picks, I think this has been pretty entertaining.
Yeah. I have enjoyed it thus far. I mean, the chat's been great, so thank you guys all for joining us. Should we kind of start with the top and maybe just take a look at some of the players that have already been drafted?
Yeah, some of the key noteworthy things, for sure.
Should we crack them open?
Oh, yeah, we should crack them open. This time, Gerald waited for all of us.
Oh, barely. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really, I swear, everyone listening on the audio is like, this is so awesome.
This is how we get.
Oh, no, they like the sound of, it's like the AMSRs. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I get that. But then it was just like an awkward pause for like 30 seconds.
We were just enjoying the great Four Peaks brews that we got.
Yeah, the hazy IPA right here.
The Joy Bus Wow Wheat.
That's what you're having today?
I
really like that can a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, that can is probably the coolest can outside of the Suns Brew.
Yeah.
That can's the coolest one.
Like, honestly, I know this is so silly, but I feel like if you use the can opener to take off the top of that and then planted a plant in that can, it would look really cute.
You can have it after I'm done with it.
It's not wrong.
I'm just saying it's super trendy to put it in like, like beans, like old bean cans or corn cans to put plants in, those type of things. I feel like that beer can would be cute.
This is the weirdest start to any of our shows ever.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's take a look at some of the key players that have gone in. Well, this is what happens when we're like 3.5 hours in. Okay, give me a break. What stood out the most to you guys so far?
I mean, there's two things that stood out to me. Paolo Branchero going #1, and instead of Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith was widely expected to go #1. And so I thought that was kind of a little bit of an upset. And then for me, honestly, 2 U of A guys going in the top 20. I thought that was a little bit surprising. I did not expect Dalen Terry to go into the top 20. Christian Koloko, I thought, would go in the top 30. He just got picked, I think, at 33 or 34. So those are kind of the two main takeaways I have.
My biggest is probably just because this is how my brain is going to continue to operate, looking at the potential sign and trade partners for DA. The Pistons obviously stand out. They got Jaden Ivey at #5. Most people thought he was a consensus top 4 guy, and then from there the draft was kind of expected to shake up. So they got him, and they also got Jaylen Durant with that trade with the Hornets. And apparently a report from James Edwards of The Athletic, who covers the Pistons, said Detroit obviously could still pursue Ayton given their cap space, but I get the sense the draft went so well in their favor, they didn't expect Ivy at number 5, that they could roll with the youngsters and seek veteran assistance in free agency. Troy Weaver, their GM, has said many times no skipping steps.
I'm telling you, at every turn, it feels like DA is going to end up staying a Sun unless they can find some way to get a superstar. And I just, man, I don't know.
My surprise going along with that is what the Knicks were able to do. They turned that number 11 pick into 4 future first-round picks, which sounds like the Knicks are going to nick, and they're going to get Kyrie Irving. They're loading up to try to trade with the Nets to bring in Kyrie for that star that they've been searching for really since Patrick Ewing went away there in New York. So I think that this is good for the Suns if you're a believer in the KD storyline. Because if Kyrie leaves, KD's looking for a new place to go. That opens the door for Phoenix. And everything it sounds like that Kyrie's going to opt in and they're going to try to trade him. And the Knicks are one of the teams high on his list. So,
and the Knicks just racked up a bunch of pieces to throw at that potential opportunity. So.
And cleared cap space by getting rid of Kemba Walker, which gives them the opportunity to do it.
The one thing that I'm curious about is just mainly because of the rumors that we saw on Twitter, Jeremy Sohan. And the potential that he might be a Sun just because of the rumors we saw on Twitter. I know, Saul, you're not a huge fan of him, and it's just a rumor.
When you said his name, why'd you look at me like that? Why'd you just be like,
because
Jeremy,
we know he's the only player who didn't like
in
the top 10.
I was following it up with, I know how you feel. But it is interesting, and I think it's something to keep an eye on.
What if it was Sohan and DeJounte Murray for DA in a signing trade?
Then we got DeJounte Murray. Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm just asking. Does it make it better?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I've been saying this since day one. I just want an equitable or greater player for DA, and I know that sounds like we're dreaming, but you literally have the option to keep the better player. Like, you can match the offer and you can keep DA, or you can trade him for something that you perceive to be better. But you can't regress. Not right now, not with Chris Paul in his last year, or his, it could be his last year. Like, you just can't do it. Like, you can't regress. 64 wins is a lot of wins. And I know we can undermine that because of their playoff performance, but in back-to-back years, they had not only playoff success, but they had regular season success that we've never seen here in the Valley. I want to keep going.
I think Sundress brought this up earlier as far as KD or sign DA. I'm kind of in that same camp. We've talked many times about how we all believe the best solution here is not a sign and trade, but bringing DA back unless Kevin Durant becomes available. I would add DeJounte Murray to that list as well. But again, I thought that report being floated about DeJounte Murray, John Collins, that whole possibility, that felt very much coming from the Hawks side to try and boost the trade value of their own guy.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he brings up the Hawks. That's the team. They were rumored to be in all these potential moves tonight. We've seen nothing from them. I still think that's the team that if a sign and trade happens, it happens with the Hawks.
While I would love to agree with you on that, there's nothing that the Hawks could possibly provide that to me feels like it would be an equitable trade-off. Like it wouldn't
talked about that. There's not going to be an equitable trade-off in a sign.
So then
trade.
Keep the best player.
If DA wants out, they're not going to keep him, and they're not going to pay him max money to do it, especially if he doesn't want to be here.
I've disagreed with you on that part. I'm like, listen, DA. I think the one thing people forget is DA is, like, for all intents and purposes, from the Valley. He likes it here, and it's not that. I think he wants to be more of a focal part of this offense, and he wants more of a role on this team, as opposed to he just hates Phoenix and he wants to leave. Like, I don't feel like it's like that, and I don't feel like the bridges have been burned to the degree where they can't be mended. And so I completely feel like the Suns are in the driver's seat right now, and they're going to see what he gets on the open market. And if he doesn't get what he thinks he's going to get, that's even better for them. They're going to match it, and he's going to stay.
Look, let's let's look at it then. Let's play in this world that you're saying, right? We've seen what these other Western Conference teams have done tonight. We've heard rumors about what they might do. We know the injured guys that are going to come back, right? If they bring back DA, are they even good enough at that point to win the West still?
Yes.
With what's going on.
Yes. They were good. They were the heavy favorites to win it all until they completely fell apart. And I know that it's easy to look at it and say, okay, you didn't get the job done. You've got to tinker. You got to do things different. Fully agree with that. But if you have the same core intact, that team just won 64 games. They just went to the finals the year before that. You're still very much good enough to win the West, especially when Nuggets are getting a guy back who's injury prone. Clippers are getting 2 guys back who are injury prone. Like, nobody else in the West really scares me except the Warriors, and I still think the Suns could beat them in a 7-game series.
Dallas has gotten better. The Pelicans will get Zion back. Again, an injury-prone guy. Portland has gotten better. Now they're not going to
9 seed.
Yeah, but it still means the West.
But you
is
know
tougher.
they're also trying to make some more moves.
But so are the Suns though. Like they're not going to just like JaVale hasn't been re-signed. They got some gaps on their roster that they still are going to have to fill after July 1st. So we're also going with the assumption that if all these other teams are going to continue to make moves, well, it's not like the Suns are just going to sit on their hands and not do anything. Like, they're going to make moves too.
But they are hamstrung salary cap wise. You got your mid-level exception. That's basically what you're dealing with.
To a certain degree, for sure. But still, like, you still have the flexibility. And again, like, we're talking about DA, but there are other pieces that you could possibly move if you think that there is a trade out there to be made that's going to improve your team. Again, outside of Devin Booker, I feel like everybody is up for grabs in terms of improving this team and getting them to a championship. Agreed. I think at the end of the day, everybody has to look at that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out in the next 10 days or so.
That's the thing is, like, tonight's draft night from a Suns perspective was obviously pretty boring. There wasn't a lot for us to do or talk about, but, like, we kind of expected this going in. A DA sign and trade can't be officially reported or negotiated until free agency. That's what happened to the Hawks and the Bucks, the Bucks and the Kings. They got in trouble for that, for tampering ahead of time. So we kind of knew it was going to be a quiet night unless there was something like a random Jay Crowder or Cam Johnson trade that came through. And I'm honestly kind of glad that it didn't, given the lack of activity that we've seen tonight.
So I know we're not going to spend this hour or so going through every second round pick, but I do want to look at this one because EJ Liddell finally got taken at number 41, which I think a lot of people would say is surprising that he fell that far in this draft. Saul, what are your thoughts on him?
Of all the teams for him to go to that I probably did not like the most is probably the Pelicans.
Which it's a steal for them there.
Well, not only that, but like he fits what they do. Like he's athletic. He's strong defensively. He's just going to be a pain in the ass for like the next several years. Again, he's a second round pick, so nothing's really guaranteed for him. He's going to have to play his way onto that team, or he's going to have to come through the G League. You're looking at 2-way contracts down the road. Like, there's a lot of variables out here, but EJ Liddell dropping that far is probably the bigger surprise of anything in the draft, because he was projected to go top 20. And for whatever reason, he dropped. And I think it's mostly because his offensive skill set leaves a lot to be desired right now.
Yeah. Okay.
We know those Pelicans love to play their young players too, and they got a lot out of them in that playoff series. So that's an unfortunate thing, as opposed to talking about some of these other teams that are going to get better. Pelicans are definitely in that group.
So we had a few guests on earlier to join us. Out of all 3 of the guests that we had on, we had Stephen Hunter on, we had Casey Jacobson on, we had Corey Williams on, and they all kind of shared their thoughts around the draft, but also what the Suns are up to right now. Is there anything that any of them said that kind of stuck out to you that we should resurface and talk about right now?
Casey Jacobson, when we brought up James Jones' approach to not really believing in the draft and everything, I was surprised because Casey is a very big college basketball guy, knows a lot about each of these guys, and he said, no, I agree with what James Jones is looking at. That should be your mindset, and that should be what fans want. I did not expect that. I expected him to say, no, you should be looking at these college kids. There's a lot of talent and a lot of value there, and he didn't, and that surprised me a lot.
You know what the draft is for a lot of people? It's hope. And when you take away hope, people don't like that. They just don't. Like, they want to believe that there is something coming down the road, especially in of all places, Arizona. Because we never win championships. Mm-hmm. We're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And people want to know that maybe we're going to get married around the corner. We're going to be that bride, right? But it never happens. So people don't like it when you take away hope, which means taking away draft picks, because that's the thing that they can absolutely pinpoint to and be like, oh, this guy's going to be the guy. And I don't have to be disappointed because now it's part of the plan. Well, 3 or 4 years later, it's going to be part of the plan. They don't like it when the plan is here and it's right here and smack dab in front of your face and you fail. Now it's like, what do we do? And people don't like to be put in that position.
To be fair, the draft is more like an arranged marriage because one side has absolutely no choice in where they're going.
Right. My problem is that it has to be that one extreme or the other, right? Like the draft, if just because you allocate proper resources in it, doesn't mean that it has to be trust the process or the timeline where you're committing to maybe being competitive 5 years down the road. Like we keep bringing up with like the Warriors and the Celtics and these other teams that have sustained success for years, you have to be able to hit in the mid to late first round to keep things going, to keep replacing talent on cost-effective, cheap rookie salaries. Like, at some point, that is going to catch up with the Suns. That's what you were hoping Jaylen Smith would be. That didn't pan out. Imagine how things might have been different in that playoff series if you had Tyrese Halliburton backing up Chris Paul instead of, Torrey Craig and Aaron Holiday in that trade that they made for Jaylen. Like, you have to be able to hit on those picks if you want to sustain success. At some point, that's going to catch up with them. And it does worry me that when Chris is past his prime and you need to hit on some of those first-round picks to just add some type of contribution on cheap roster spots, is James Jones going to be able to deliver on that? I have serious hesitations about that.
Yeah, I feel like James thinks that a veteran minimum guy that you can get on the roster is going to be better for you than a draft pick. And maybe in the immediate, in the 8 months in front of you, that's true. But to your point, eventually that does catch up with you if you miss on a few of those kind of guys.
Because you do need some longevity from your player.
True, but so Jaylen Smith is actually a perfect case study in this, right? He was a project, okay? And he didn't develop at the rate of speed that the Suns needed him to in order to really be beneficial to this team right now as it stands. So they had to get rid of him. And he's played better, and he's gotten more minutes, and he's played very well for the Indiana Pacers. We might be looking at a situation here where in 2, 3, 4 years, Jaylen Smith is a really good player, right? But the Suns didn't have the time that they could afford to contribute to him for him to develop within the scheme. So that's part of the problem here is that, like, I see where James Jones is coming from, where, like, we might be able to take a flyer and be able to stash him, but the rate of growth has still got to be significant enough within that year or two in order to be able to use him. Otherwise, we're going to have to get rid of him, and we're going to have to find somebody else that's going to come in and actually contribute to a championship level team.
That's my problem with that thinking, though, is his win now quote goes directly against the Jaylen Smith pick because he wasn't ready to help them win now or contribute. And maybe that's just a misfire on his draft evaluation. But like, you have to be able to, you can do both. You don't have to have win now players or project players. You can have players that you plug into a winning system that help you win and get better as a result. Jaylen Smith played well in Indiana. They lost like 20 some of their last 20 some games. Like, they weren't a good team.
True. But that's where Cam Johnson kind of screwed him over too. Like, not, I say screw him over, but like, he picked Cam Johnson thinking, okay, this might be the model right here. 22-year-old guy, more mature, came from a big program. Okay, cool. And Cam Johnson took about a year to kind of get his feet under him, and then had a pretty decent second year and a very good third year, right? And so, but Jaylen Smith didn't follow that plan. The first year, he barely even touched the court. Second year, he barely touched the court, got a little bit of run, and then that was it.
I mean, I'm going to defend Jaylen Smith, and this is a weird position for me to be in because I don't usually do this.
You're the lead.
I don't usually do this, but
you don't want to grow up.
He was a guy. He was a guy that didn't benefit from summer league because there was no summer league the year they drafted him. It was a shortened off season, a shortened training camp. all these things. So he didn't even have the benefit of what most draft picks have. But I wonder, everybody points to that and goes, well, that doesn't fit the plan. Well, we're 2 years removed from that. Can't James Jones have thought about it and went, that's part of the reason I don't want to do this anymore? Because I took this guy, and you see it, and when it's in practice, you're like, I don't want to have to go through this anymore. It's not going to benefit where my team's at. I don't think that this was necessarily his mindset when he took the job fully. I think this is how his mindset continues to evolve with where the team's at and a guy like Jaylen Smith and how it was a struggle to develop him, right? I want the group's opinion on this. I took heat because I defended what James said, and I was called a Sarver apologist for it, right?
That's aggressive.
It happens to all of us at some point.
I don't understand where it is, because I don't think this is a case of being cheap. Am I reading this wrong? Is this being forced on James Jones, that this is a cheap mindset and that's why he's doing it?
That wouldn't make any sense, because drafting rookies, you have the rookie contract for so many years. I feel like if anything, that would save you some money.
But he also did have 4 straight drafts where he like traded a first round pick for cash. So I get that perception. I don't think it's a matter of being cheap. I just think it's James Jones doesn't value the draft. He's cut down on probably employee salaries by having a much more scarce like personnel. Sarver's probably a fan of that.
In that, but we don't know where they reinvested that. Like, that was another critique. Oh, well, where's all the reinvestment if they're saving the money? The hell if I know. I don't have the books that the Suns are using, but they did just build an $80 million practice facility that's loaded to the teeth with technology.
They also sold their G League team.
I also find it ironic that everyone's asking, where's the reinvestment from a team that rarely invests in the first place? Well, if they're saving money, it's just going to go into the pockets. Well, it doesn't have to be reinvested. And I'm sure that some people could look at it and be like, this is a way to save money. That's what we're going to do just to save money.
I don't see James Jones creating this elaborate lie and ruse about what his plan is just to cover the fact that they were being cheap somehow. Yeah. I don't think that's the case. I just think he very much has developed this mindset, in part because of what he's experienced through the draft, in part because he kind of grew up under Pat Riley in some ways and looked at how that worked for him, and that's where he wants. And the fact that all of this, they skipped steps. All this is expedited. I mean, they went from not in the playoffs to the finals to having the best record in the NBA in the regular season. Like, I feel like that impacts the plan too, and his approach to it and the view at it.
It does, and I want to go back to what you were saying about Jaylen Smith, because I feel like, yes, he didn't have summer league, yes, he didn't have training camp. That also didn't stop a lot of the rookies in that same class from being productive immediately. And it's a player by player basis. I get that, and his draft strategy could have changed because of that very selection that he made. But it is still alarming that a guy who got a pick that wrong is still saying, yeah, we got 6 or 7 guys on our draft board in a given year.
I have go ahead.
No, just real quick about the Jaylen Smith thing. I don't think it's necessarily. I think James Jones is like, okay, this is what I have in my arsenal. This is what I'm comfortable with. If you prove me wrong, then cool. Or if you have a better idea, I'll listen to it. I just don't think that type of player has fit what he wants to do and where he thinks development should go. The other thing about this Jaylen Smith thing that I think sometimes we just gloss right over and we walk right past is, this is also on Monty. Like, yes. Monty did not give this guy enough time on the court to be able to develop at a reasonable rate, or at least see what you have. We're not talking about 20 minutes a game. Just 5 to 10.
I mean, there were times where we'd be up 20 at the end of the game, and he wouldn't even pull the starters.
And Monty was, again, like, when we see the way the seasons end, or this last season ended, and how fatigued the team looked. Now, it could have been COVID. I don't fucking know, but I'm not going to speculate on that, because the only one that appears to have had COVID is Chris Paul, so whatever. But the whole team looked like they were worn down. The whole team looked like they were lethargic. The whole team looked like ass. And I keep going back to this, well, maybe you're mismanaging the players to a certain degree, and Jaylen Smith's development is just kind of contributes to that perception that I have of Monty Williams at this point. I feel like there are certain times where he mismanages the team and is just not prepared overall.
Let's go back to the Tyrese Halliburton thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that draft that Halliburton was very adamant about wanting to play for the Kings, that he didn't want to go before that was the place he wanted to land. So in part, that could scare away a GM because a guy trying to force it. I very distinctly remember this.
Okay, but you tell me, if you're the GM and you hear a player say that, but you have a need and you feel like that player is going to be good for you, are you really caring about what that player says?
If I'm James Jones and I'm all about win now and the chemistry and all that, I say, fuck you. I don't want you on my roster if you don't want to be here. I'm going to go take one of the other 6 guys I have on my board. And that's the other thing. This whole I've only got 6 or 7 guys on my board thing that everybody's lost their shit over. To me, it's just being honest. How many teams actually want 50 guys they have on a board? No, they just are ranking guys in order of, oh, well, I like this guy, but here's an order. Really, there are only 6 or 7 they really want, but they're guys that, okay, if we have to take them, we'll take them.
I think it's a matter of preparation.
You're way too much with your heart right now in your head. Like, it's a fucking business. I can give a fuck what a player says they want to do before the draft. You're 19 years old.
Well, here's the thing, too. Look, Howie said Halliburton said on JJ's podcast that story was BS.
Okay, so like I didn't hear that.
You know what I know. So it's like,
but I don't want you guys to argue about something that is
outside of like the number 1 pick. If you have a split decision between 2 players and one player's like, I don't want to fucking go to Detroit. Like, okay, maybe I can see that.
Right.
But outside of that, like, no, like, I give a shit what you say. Like, you're the best option for our team. We're trying to win a championship. If I think you're a contributing piece to that, then I'm going to draft you. And if you're going to be miserable, guess what? That's going to affect your money, not mine.
But as a manager, that can affect morale overall. That's part of this. You cannot ignore the human element.
But if you have
I love Ryan McDonough, but he ignored the human element in so many things, and it screwed up in so many ways when you ignore the human element.
When you have a team like the Suns, and you have a Chris Paul on your roster, and a Jay Crowder on your roster, and a bunch of veterans on your roster, that shit works itself out.
Didn't keep DA from being upset about his playing time.
DA's a number 1
pick. But he wasn't
pick,
a fucking malcontent.
No, I'm saying, you're saying that, eventually if somebody's unhappy, it does not matter who the hell's around them.
But
they'll be unhappy.
This year he was you could argue he was probably unhappy because he didn't get paid, but he still played his ass off.
Look, even notwithstanding Tyrese Halliburton, like there were other options too. And I don't think a rookie coming in, unless you're talking about like a top 5 pick or a superstar rookie that everyone's drooling over, you're not having that power coming into a team and being like, I don't want to be here. I'm going to be a malcontent.
Unless you're
I'm
literally like LeBron James.
And look,
that's like, you can't come into this league dictating that way. It's not far gone of a player's league.
I'm not defending James Jones' pick. He blew that pick. There were a lot of guys, not Tyrese Halliburton, that you could have gotten as well that would have been worth that pick well beyond what you got there. So, I'm not defending that pick. I don't want it to sound like that. Jaylen Smith was a giant miss by James Jones in that draft. By the way, Golden State just bought Atlanta's 44th pick for cash. So some people are buying into the second round, but I still have yet to hear anything about the Suns.
I do want to go back to a comment that you made a little bit earlier, though, that you said something along the lines, and correct me if I'm wrong if I misinterpreted this, but something along the lines of that Jaylen Smith pick could have been what made James Jones kind of realize that this is not his thing.
Or rethink his strategy, yeah.
Does that concern you, though? Because if I'm hearing that my general manager, 1 of 30 in this league, is saying the draft is not my strong suit, so therefore we're not going to participate as much as other teams are, that concerns me because, 1, then it's like, okay, wait, hold on. Should you maybe be in this position? Or 2, maybe you should defer to others if it's not your specific strong suit as far as who you select.
Good management is admitting that you can't do certain things. And
yes, but if you're in that position, you can't just say, I'm not good at this, so I'm not going to do it.
I agree, but I think part of this is James Jones started in this job, I believe, 2 years under Ryan McDonough, right? Mm-hmm. And he saw the whole draft thing, and he saw how that played out, and he saw all that. And I think that weighs into his thought process too, is a lot of these things. I think there's a lot of reasons why he's there, and we're going to find out. We're going to find out very soon, does his way of building a team work? I think this offseason is going to go a long way to say, hey, does James Jones know what he's talking about, or is he full of it with this? Because he's going to have to find veteran guys on the cheap to fill very important needs to backstop this roster. And if he can't, well, the draft would have been a great way to try to do some of that.
It puts a lot of pressure on, like you're saying, those other veteran minimum moves when guys are going to be looking for mid-level deals or bigger deals. You're not going to get some of those guys on veteran minimums. I do think that we should point out he has been decent at finding talent on the margins. Like Ish Wainwright is a guy who started the year on a 2-way contract, worked his way to a full-time deal. Like he can do it. It's just I would have liked to see him at least take a flyer in the second round. We're seeing people buy into the second round of the draft. If you miss on that, so what? You miss on the 40-some pick. So that happens all the time.
Cool.
But like take a flyer at least. That would have been nice, especially with all these picks that are very readily available. That's my only thing.
If they don't buy into the second round, that's a mistake. What, $2 million to take away a flyer on a guy that is on a non-guarantee that you might be able to have on this roster cheap and have some kind of impact. Right. I think that's ridiculous, especially if there's a guy sitting there that you feel passionate about as a member of the Suns front office.
And it won't make or break their season, obviously.
No.
But it is nice to give yourself as many options to find something as you possibly can. So that's just, again, the trades that they made, giving up their first round pick in the Chris Paul deal, giving up their second round pick in the Torrey Craig deal, fully on board with that. The last pick in the draft, who cares? The last pick in the first round, fine. But like, if you have an opportunity to get back in, do it. And it's kind of worrisome that like he just doesn't really prioritize this side of team building.
Saul, do we need to get you some 4 Peaks or some OGs to kickstart your energy again?
I've been drinking the 4 Peaks. No, I was kind of.
So do we need to toss in some OGs in there?
Sure, let's do some OGs. I think we're doing producer surprise, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm just.
Oh, are we?
She was asking if you wanted actual OGs, not an ad read.
Oh, no, I'm good.
I mean, we could turn it into an ad read. We could do an ad read for 4 Peaks. How about that? What are each of you drinking tonight?
The Joy Bus Wow Wheat.
You got peach?
Wondrous orange.
I have a hazy IPA.
The hazy IPA always seems to be the one that everyone's like, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
And then everyone is like, this is that's 1A, and then the other ones are 1B.
Yeah. I'm not even a big IPA guy, but the hazy IPA is my jam. So.
And are we allowed to share what's going on next week at 4 Peaks yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's share it.
Tell people what's going on.
There's a lot of things going on. So at every last Wednesday of the month, we will be at 4 Peaks doing live shows all day long. PHNX all day long from 4 Peaks, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning with the Coyote Show, and every hour on the hour all day long. We'll be there at 2. Everybody will be doing their shows live from 4 Peaks. It'll be, they have First Fridays. Well, we have
last Wednesdays.
Last Wednesdays.
Get drunk from brunch through dinner with the PHNX crew.
It's perfect. So if you guys have a free hour or 2 or all day on next Wednesday, come hang out at the 4 Peaks Brewery with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then you can also get to try all of the different beers that they offer. Their food is really good too. And they also have like a cool little shop with lots of little trinkets and stuff that you can check out.
And you know who actually values the draft here in town? The Phoenix Coyotes. And they're actually going to have a draft show out at 4 Peaks, our Coyote show July 7th out there. So check it out. What?
Values of the draft.
They
worst
do.
team in hockey. They have to value the draft because they're not getting any free agents.
It's called a transition, Saul.
Oh,
it was a good one.
It worked
Sorry,
out well.
buddy.
Just a reminder, you have to be 21 or older to enjoy 4 Peaks beer, and we hope that you enjoy it responsibly. So we made some bets at the top of, or 45 minutes, or I don't even know. whenever before the draft started. That time.
Years ago.
The before time.
Look at Leah in the chat.
I
Phoenix
called them.
Coyotes.
I meant the
gosh.
PHNX Coyotes crew and the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Leah.
Ouch.
Okay, I'm never promoting your show again, Leah.
Oh, you should be thankful.
Did we all hit on our bets that we had made earlier?
Yes.
I took that giant swing and missed.
That was so bad.
Hey, plus 2,500.
Shane put them up.
Yep.
So, Gerald, you
I was
did not.
I was so close.
You
he
were
was
so
right
close.
there for the taking, and they went with Chet, which fair enough. But I was so close.
I think mine hit because Keegan went fourth.
Yeah, so you hit yours at
hit on half
minus
of mine.
285.
Yes, but it's a win is a win.
But I still won.
I swung big and missed big. Yeah.
I tell you, I got half of mine right. I got the Shaden Sharp under 7.5.
I had Nikola Jovic in the top 10 at plus 250. What are you, or 2,500?
29?
Yeah,
27?
27.
You know who hit all theirs?
The Diefmeister.
Yeah, Shane. Shane got all of his bets tonight correct. Congratulations to you, Shane. I don't know why we ever doubted you.
Shane Deef and Boss, am I right?
Heyo.
I will end the stream, Gerald.
He said, "Don't you
Please
dare!
send me home.
Don't you
That's not
dare!"
a threat at this point.
That's true.
You'll
Please
end
do.
it?
They're
Oh,
keeping
okay.
me hostage.
Bye.
Gerald just keeps
Boy.
bullying me.
If you guys want to get in on any sports betting action, highly recommend you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. And if you use the promo code PHNX, new customers can bet $5 on either NHL team to win their game and get $100 in free bets no matter what. Just make sure you're not betting on the Phoenix Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes, maybe next year. But that's code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Stanley Cup Finals. Must be 21 or older. Arizona only. New customers only. Minimum $5 minimum deposit. Restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
If you could bet on the Phoenix Coyotes, you get it right because you're betting on things that happened a decade and a half ago. I'd like your odds there.
John said, do you...
Screw all you guys, all right?
That was
all the
them.
way off.
I didn't exasperately sigh at the same time. It was just them.
Mine wasn't towards you.
Gerald, you're
so
good.
Mine was
Screw
overall.
those two.
Mine was just an overall sigh. John in the chat said, do you guys take breaks? Marathon coverage here. Yeah, I think we're just kind of hitting, you know, when you like peak, I think we peaked like
we're
30
high.
minutes ago
we're definitely like, you ever play video games so long you just start saying and doing stupid shit while you're playing video games? That's kind of the
We've
euphoria
entered the
that we're in
delirium
right now.
stage.
Yes.
I'm glad we've saved this for the podcaster.
I know.
The good stuff isn't for you guys.
Well, you know what
should
we
have been
should
there
do?
on YouTube.
You know what we should do? We should wrap up the trivia and
Yeah,
give
let's
away our
do that.
final.
Okay.
Hopefully we get somebody that gets more than just 2 right.
Yes.
And can I read the questions?
We've been
Yeah.
so
Yes.
close.
Let's
love to do
recap what we're doing here, though. We're gonna drop a link in the chat here on YouTube. We're gonna bring in one of our girthlings to take a quiz. 60 seconds on the clock. As many answers as you can get right in that time. If you have the most answers correct out of anybody, and we've had 3 people only get 2 answers correct.
So
in
all
60
you
seconds.
need to do is get 3 answers correct.
Get 3, and you're going to win a PHNX prize pack. We don't know what's in that yet, but you're going to win it. So let's get that link in there. It's in the chat now. First person to click there and get in with us is going to be able to participate.
And while we're waiting for somebody to pop in, let me just remind you guys, summer is here. We want you to be safe and healthy for all the fun things that we're going to plan for you guys, the fun things you've got planned with your friends and family. So COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov/find vaccine for a location near you.
All right.
All right. We got a
We got here.
victim. Oh, who we got here?
Who do we got?
Oh, come back.
They
What's
left.
his name? I
He
can't
left.
read.
All
There's
right.
somebody else there.
Bring up the next person.
Oh,
Oh no.
All right. Somebody else
One
click
more
on
time.
that.
Hey guys, be more patient.
Great for audio. Great for audio here.
Yeah, you guys can just wait. You don't come live right away. We have to like select you and allow you to come into the show. So just sit in that like holding room for a second.
All right.
While Shane brings you in.
All right. Here we go.
Who do we have?
Who do we have here?
John? Is that John?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. It's not working the way I want it to be. But yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. All right. Can you hear the questions? Is the most important thing.
Most importantly, who do we have? Who is this?
I'm John. John Arrett. Hi.
All right,
Hi,
John. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
All right. You're going to have 60 seconds to get at least 3 right to win this whole shebang. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. What was the nickname given to the guard tandem of Jason Kidd and Penny Hardaway?
Backcourt 2000.
Nice.
Correct.
Who was the Suns' first ever general manager?
Jerry Colangelo.
Correct.
What number did Deandre Ayton actually want to have when he was drafted by the Suns?
Oh gosh. God, I have no idea.
Which member of the Golden State Warriors team did the Suns draft?
He may not be playing, but he is on the bench.
Oh crap.
Come on, you got this.
I should know that. Sorry. Damn it.
Okay. Have the Suns drafted players with the first name and last name of Scott?
It's a yes or no. 1 second.
No.
Oh, we were so close.
Are you serious?
We were so close.
You were so close.
Alvin Scott. Yeah. So wait.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Good try.
And
Good try,
the
John.
player
Thanks,
was
John.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
So close.
Steve Kerr. Yep.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. So another person.
All right, one
with
more
two.
person.
One more person. Let's
One more
go.
person.
Click that link. Come in.
All right,
Let's,
can I read
Yeah,
some? Can I read
thought-
these?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, last person. We have got to get somebody
What
to
is going on
answer
here?
3 of these questions correct. Let me see.
So somebody else click on that link and let's get 3, please.
Oh, so close.
I can't answer
I thought
the
for sure he had it.
We
He
can't
had-
ask the hard ones.
He had 2 in like 20
I
seconds,
know.
and I thought, oh, here we go. It's gonna be easy.
I know. All right. Anybody else, click on that link and we will try to do this again.
Oh, that was so close.
So close,
So
John.
while we're waiting for somebody, we haven't really talked about what we saw take place for other teams in the first round. Anything stand out to any of you guys that that you would like to kind of focus on from the first round, other than some of the brief things we talked about at the beginning?
I'm trying to think.
For me, I think just Oklahoma City sticking with we're drafting the skinniest guys on the board. It continues to surprise me.
Does it?
Yes and no, I guess. I mean, they have a type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. I don't know. I don't really think anything else really stood out. The only thing I will say is that I am a little bit surprised that the Suns didn't do anything tonight. I don't know. I guess I'm just.
I mean, that's the Suns' way. I mean, honestly, it feels like it's.
That's not encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they literally just called their bluff the other day. Like, they called their shot the other day. I mean, it's like they said, we don't really value the draft. And clearly they don't. So
It wasn't a smokescreen, folks.
that was the real deal.
If we're sitting here a week from tomorrow and nothing's been done when the legal tampering begins and we're not even hearing anything, then I'll get a little bit more concerned. But not doing anything on draft night, okay, fine, wasn't part of your plan. That means you better have big plans coming up, whether it's automatically at the beginning of free agency re-signing DA and surprising all of us, or you have some trade or guys you want to go after. There better be something coming out of that bag. If you do absolute nothing, we've got 6 picks left in this draft. It's pretty safe to say they're not doing anything that's going to have any impact.
Yeah, if you get Kevin Durant, all is forgiven for tonight.
I mean,
but
yeah, this is true.
outside of that, or a DeJounte Murray, that type of deal, it's super quiet. Like, I wonder if James Jones watched that Adam Sandler movie Hustle and just thought, like, this is bullshit. Like this.
Oh, I
dumb.
guarantee it. He's like, why'd they send Adam Sandler to Spain? Nobody gives a shit about trying to find a guy.
These are the thoughts I've had time to go through my head during this draft.
Like Juan Hernan Gomez or whatever his
Juan
name
Hernan
is.
Gomez.
Yeah. Like, that dude ain't that good. Nah, let's move on.
Like, why are they playing him on Anthony Edwards? That's a mismatch.
By the way,
somebody hit the link. Please.
Anthony Edwards was a star in that movie. If he's actually talking crap like that on the real court, I'd love to have a mic on that guy because he was spectacular.
Dude, listen, when the pandemic hit and everybody came back to play, I still to this day don't understand why, if the networks couldn't have just charged an extra $25 for a separate feed so we can get unedited courtside audio.
I think NBA League Pass should have paid twice and you double and you can get that.
Who we got here?
All right, who do we got?
Oh no, they're frozen.
No.
They'd still already only get 2 questions, right?
So close yet so far.
All right, so somebody else click on that. Soto still hasn't gone in this draft. Maybe they will trade in and pick.
If we can get somebody to call in before the end of this producer surprise, we will do it. If not, we'll have to try. Okay, well there we go.
Try this again.
The joys of technology.
There we go. Hey, can you hear us?
Mom, it's not working on my phone.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Did they dip? There's another one waiting, Shane. Let's see if that one works.
There we go. Uh-oh. Who we got here? Hey, we got somebody. He's like, hey, I'm on. Can you hear us?
Uh-oh. Who we got here? Hey, we got somebody. He's like, hey, I'm on. Hey, it's Keith, a.k.a. Sunders.
Yeah, you got.
What's up, Sunders? You got to watch on the link and not on YouTube, okay? So mute your YouTube right now.
Yeah, you got
Sunders.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
You got to mute your YouTube. There we go.
We good? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, how's that?
Okay, that's so much
perfect.
better.
All right, here we go.
Sunders, let's go. You have got to get 3 of these, okay?
We believe in you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Ready, set, go. Who did the Suns select 9th overall in the 1999 NBA draft?
Amari, or Sean Marion.
Sean Marion, there we go. What is the name of the current Suns mascot?
The Gorilla.
Yes. Who was the most recent inductee into the Suns Ring of Honor?
Al McCoy.
Let's
We did it!
We got a winner!
Thank you.
Don't ever question the power of a softball. Let's go.
I won Espo's glasses. All right.
You know what? I'll send you an autographed pair of a pair of glasses I have if that's what you want.
All right, Sunders.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Also, thank you for being a longtime listener and always in our chat. So we appreciate you.
Hit us in our DMs with your address and we'll send you something.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, we did it, you guys.
We are never doing this again. Technology sucks. Right?
Lindsey was like, we should invite people in. I was like, okay.
I still think it's a fun idea. It's just we got to figure out the technology side of it a little bit better. I will say though, I don't remember what comment it was, but yes, I'm back to just sitting behind.
For those of you listening,
I'm tired.
Yeah, for those of you listening on audio, Lindsey has slunk down as far as she can in her chair, and now her computer covers her face on camera.
I just need to stand for like an hour. That's all. Anyway, somebody in the comments was like, this trivia game is exposing all of us right now. I was like, okay, well, at least we're all on the same page.
There was a couple questions. I was like, ooh, I have no idea.
Same. The nickname one that you asked, I would have never gotten.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's round it out with an OG's producer surprise, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow. What you got for us, producer Shane?
Surprise! You have to show your face.
Okay.
Okay. So, just a quick, easy question. Actually, it might not be easy. It's something to think about. Okay. If you could make any fictional monster, not like a traditional animal, but like a monster or something that isn't a traditional animal from any movie or video game, your pet, what would it be and why?
What the fuck?
So any fictional monster as a
Boo
pet.
From Monsters, Inc.
A literal child.
It's a human
Okay,
being.
not Boo.
a child in a costume from a person who says she wants nothing to do with children. She takes a kid in a monster costume.
I thought Boo was the blue thing.
No,
that's
James P.
Sullivan. No, Sullivan.
That's Sully.
Yeah.
Sully?
James
Yeah.
P. Sullivan
The
is his
blue
full
one.
name.
Yeah.
I want the blue one.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's no coming back from that.
Holy crap.
I need to go to bed.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
What is the? It's
Oh,
the,
1,000,000%. I would take the dragon off of Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's a good one.
Drogon.
What's her name?
Daenerys.
Dracarys?
Daenerys. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the thing. That they,
Yeah,
That's
Daenerys.
the command.
I gotta
Yeah,
stop
Daenerys
talking.
is dragon. I would totally take that.
Okay. My wife in the chat said an Ewok. That's a pretty good call.
Oh, that is a
They're
good
cute
one.
as hell.
Yeah.
And they can help defend you.
They get a little
take
spicy
that.
at
Yeah, I
times.
take
I
that.
kind of feel like if you like just put on a costume, you would be.
Go fuck yourself, Bookman.
God.
You're so.
You look like an Ewok.
Oh my
Put him
god.
in a fucking bear costume.
I'm gonna Ewok over there and kick it in nuts, Bookman.
Oh my god! I gave your wife an idea for fucking Halloween. Let's go. Oh,
And you know that's not what we do in the bedroom.
oh my god! You're a
Oh.
furry.
No.
You asked.
Oh my god!
You asked for it, Bookman.
Oh my
You asked
god!
We were
for it.
so close to landing the plane.
So close. So
A 5-hour flight.
Oh my god!
We hit some turbulence.
The
We can still
rails
land
have
this.
completely come
we're
off. Oh my goodness! Oh,
What would you take, Gerald?
Oh no.
oh
It's
my
in the
God.
chat now.
His wife is responding. He does.
What would you
my
take,
goodness.
Gerald?
I was just gonna say a porg from Star Wars. Those little penguin owl looking things. They're adorable. They're little. They're cute.
Oh
But-
my god!
But I just got one up in every possible way. Lindsay's pet would be a child.
She would be the mom that
Someone
has her kid on a
breathe
leash.
fire.
She would have her kid on a leash. Oh my gosh!
Oh man.
You knew what I meant.
I didn't.
I told you the blue thing.
Yeah,
That's what
then
I
I
wanted.
then I knew what you meant.
Oh my god!
All right, well, let me just tell you guys. Oh, wait,
hold
Gerald,
on.
did you name yours already?
I said a porg.
SVO DC in the chat says if KD gets traded to the Suns, Espo needs to dress up as an Ewok for a podcast.
I co-sign.
Sure.
I support
if
it.
KD winds up here, I'll dress as an Ewok
Oh
for
my
a
God.
podcast. There we
Oh.
go.
Costume shop out there. You heard it.
Oh man.
All right, let me finish this ad for you guys. So, OGs, they just launched their first ever limited edition seasonal flavor, Pina Colada, a perfect pineapple and creamy coconut blend that's just in time for those summer road trips and pool parties. And as we damn it, Espo.
She just gave me a
Espo's
look.
literally crying.
This look just got me.
Oh my god!
And this Saturday, OGs and half the crew here at PHNX are taking over the Maya Day Club in Scottsdale. That's June 25th. So be sure to come out and join them. Say what's up. Hang out with everybody. Find out and learn more about OGs. You can also check them out online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. And you can also find their products at your local dispensary, but you must be 21 years or older to purchase. We got to go home.
You know what? There's 3 picks left.
That
and
was insane.
We got to finish the draft, don't we?
I'm just saying. I guarantee if we sign off right now, the Suns buy the final pick and draft Soto. That is what will happen if we sign off.
So you want to just share the last
we
three?
suffered through all this.
I mean,
Why not?
we've almost made it all the way to the end. We might as well go ahead and finish the whole thing.
I will have to bounce as soon as the draft's over because they are doing media availability. So we will.
course they
But
are.
are they actually doing it?
Ooh, what?
We will get to ask about probably DA stuff, about draft rumors, about whatever. So
Can you ask him how he feels after that article came out? Like, does he regret anything? No, I really want to know because sometimes these things they do the interview in like March or something or April. They drop it right before the draft. Things are taken out of context in some ways. You know, like.
Yeah.
I actually wonder if that is something that he's thinking about with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting because at 8:30, so they sent out the media availability stuff yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They said they would kind of like share updates via email as the night goes on if anything happens. And at 8:30, they sent out that media availability for James Jones would take place at the end of the draft.
Oh,
so that is curious if there is a movement here in these final 2 or 3 picks.
They just sent another one out, and it just says, "Nah, we good." I'm just kidding.
I mean, Gerald's probably like, I wouldn't be bad
I think
at
they
that.
were watching the show and heard the furry business.
She's just like, I don't know what to say about any of this.
Well, it's so funny. Dagoon said Soto probably going to Golden State Warriors because they just bought a pick, and they did just buy a pick.
Did they?
God.
Oh, they did.
So it'll be interesting to see who they pick.
See, all I'm going to say is there's a reason we all go, oh, God, when a rival
Well,
does that type of stuff. That's good at drafting.
wait,
It's a
how many
valuable
picks
asset.
did we say are here?
58. There's 2 that were forfeited by
So-
the Kings and the.
We know that
Bucks, right?
Indiana traded number 58 to Milwaukee. Shams tweeted that a
Yeah.
little bit ago.
By the way, Chris in the chat says, "Well, I assure you, there's no other draft show like this. I promise."
Uh-huh.
Did you guys realize that there's 2 Jaylen Williams on the Thunder now?
Yes.
I didn't notice that. That's fun.
Yep.
The-
Also, an update on the China chili and pizza combo. My stomach hurts, but I don't know if it's because of what Espo said or.
I think
the
it's
food.
that one. Don't
Okay.
blame the pizza
Both.
China chili. It's definitely Espo's fault.
So is there a chance that the Warriors, I'm just looking at the screen here, the Warriors pay significantly more in luxury tax than the Suns will pay in actual salary this year?
I don't know. It's possible.
I think they're going to
You
pay
gotta
over
spend money to
200
make
million.
money.
Yeah,
luxury
Total
tax.
salary and
Yeah.
luxury tax in 23-24 could exceed $450 million.
Yep, you got
Talk
to
about-
pay to keep
Yeah,
talent.
talk about investing to win, putting your money where your mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
That's
wanna
why Golden
know-
State's doing it.
I would like to know. I don't know if if there's a way that you could even get this information, but I would like to know how much money the Warriors made just in this last season.
I don't know that you get exacts, but I don't know. I mean, some of these, it would not shock me if the owners there are looking at it as a break-even proposition and they just want to win.
Well,
in some
you
ways.
do that, but then it also adds value to your organization as a whole, like the
Yeah.
franchise.
I mean, you got to think about so ticket sales in general. Like, there's not a ticket in Golden State that's less than $100.
Oh no,
There's just not for any of those games, right?
I would be surprised if even there are games
Times-
where it's $100
Times
sometimes.
15 to 18,000 per game. You're selling out all 41 of those games, and then on top of that, you're not even talking about the luxury boxes, the suites, all that stuff, and then on top of that, you're getting the money deal rights for the TV rights. You're getting the sponsorship deals from all the people that want to be a part of your brand. Like, they're good. They're absolutely good. I wonder how much money they do make every single year.
But also, it's not just that. The end game is how much can you get the value of your franchise to go up before you sell it. That's the name of the
Mhm.
game, because that's where you really make your money as an owner, especially these guys that got in it, like the Warriors owners, even like Sarver, who got in it at 400 million, 600 million. They're now going for 2.5 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. Like, that's the end game, really, if you're looking at owning a team like that. And that's why it drives me nuts when these owners will buy a team and not invest in it, because especially we're looking at the Suns and talking about that. Sarver bought it 400 million. If they sell for 2 billion, it's 1.6 billion in your on your investment. Why are you not spending on the team? You're getting it on the way out anyways. You might as well be investing in your product as you're doing it. That's the thing that drives me nuts, because they're gonna get their payday. Whether they're forced to sell, whether they sell on their own, however it is, you're getting your golden parachute when you leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're making money on tickets. You're making money on merch. And they've got tons of fans all over the world.
Mhm.
So their merch sales are probably higher than the average team by far. Plus, you're making money on like the social media content side of things. And even the sponsorships, like their patch deals, probably far more lucrative than other patch deals in the league.
Arena naming rights, in Golden State,
So-
Chase paid a hell of a lot.
You could probably, if you really broke it down, it's probably at a minimum breaking even, but they probably still profit.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. But these are tech billionaires that own Golden State, which, I guess that's different than a banker, but still, I don't know why I'm being called King Espo in the chat. I don't think I want to know.
I put a crown on your head because I was going to turn it upside down, but then I realized I didn't have the capability to do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, where are we at on the draft? Are we almost there?
57th pick was in.
57th
So there's
pick.
one more to go.
Well, Indiana already traded it to Milwaukee, so unless Milwaukee moves it over to the Suns.
No.
So it looks like Jabari Walker, Colorado, is going to get taken at 57, which is fun for the Pac-12 people out there.
I will say, though, there is a chance because a lot of guys go undrafted, and after the draft, you see a lot of reports about this player is signing with this team or, summer leagues type stuff. Maybe we'll see something from the Suns. Get something.
Give me Soto.
Well, I would be shocked if they didn't get at least one or two guys, if for nothing else, for the summer league. To be honest with you. And listen, there's some guys that are on the board right now that have not been taken, that expected to be taken. And remember, we've cut this draft short by 2 picks.
Yes.
And a lot of times, what people will do is, a team might call. Let's just say this happened to like Alonzo Trier. A team called him and said, "Hey, we're going to take you with like the last pick," or I think it was maybe a couple picks before the end. And he was like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to go to that city," because a lot of players would just say, "You know what? I'd like to pick the situation that I'm going to."
Yeah, but as a GM, why wouldn't you just tell him, "Screw you, I'm taking you anywhere. You're the most talented guy left on the board."
Because he's not going to contribute. All you need is a summer league guy. So why would you fuck him over like that?
But wasn't that what you just told me earlier?
First round
let's not rehash this argument.
The final pick is in.
I knew where he was going, but it was a stupid.
Let's not rehash.
Stupid comment. So
yes, the final pick is in.
Hugo Besson or Besson.
There you go.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, number 58.
Okay.
And then the other last little nugget of information. Sharif O'Neal has agreed to play in NBA Summer League with the Los Angeles Lakers.
And there it goes. It starts.
And
so players like to control their own situation, especially if they're undrafted. You might as well go to the best situation that you think is going to be ideal for you to make a roster, as opposed to getting picked like for instance.
Yeah, they're coming out left and right now who's playing for Summer League teams. So we'll see that probably.
Yeah, and that's probably what they've been working on for like the last hour, starting to call guys saying, "Hey, if you're available, we'd love to sign you to come to Summer League," and blah, blah, blah.
It's still not nearly as exciting as trading into the draft.
Well,
but I get it. I'm not mad at it.
We did 4.5 hours of show with the Suns doing absolutely nothing and no Suns rumor. Who says you can't have entertainment without a pick?
We did it.
We did it. Congratulations to
did
each and every one of
furry
you.
joke the whole time.
And none of us fist fought too. So hey, win.
That is surprising.
Win.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate you, especially those of you who have been with us literally since 4:45 this afternoon. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Same place as always. And until then, you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Hey, some people are an Ewok on the street, but a Chewbacca in the bedroom. Good night, everybody. Ahoy, hoy.
Hey, yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G, no plan B. Always on the job, my team move like the mob. Turn the beat on.